Audio Jungle.
Hey guys, I want to welcome you to this Creating Influence free training mini-series. I'm Dr. Dan Sullivan, and I'm with
Chris Burfield,
the man, your homeboy, Chris Burfield. And we're here, we're super excited to launch these 3 videos. So we're gonna put 3 videos. This is the first of 3. And we wanna, man, here's the thing. We want to help you create more influence. We have an opportunity, and a lot of you know this. You've been speaking about this for a long time.
long time.
I feel like living this out and more realizing this every single week, every single month, every single year, is that there's influence to be had. There's such an opportunity, you as a chiropractor, to put out your unique voice in your community. If you think about it, right? There's a lot of companies that didn't think it either, right? That didn't think this was the case.
Yeah.
Toys R Us, what'd you just know? Circuit City.
Blockbuster,
like all of these companies that have gone down because they didn't realize what was happening. And so I've even seen this with many chiros. They're like, you know what, I've got an all referral practice. I don't need to have all, the pony in that race.
Yeah, I don't need to have an online presence.
Yeah.
Yeah, my patients send me referrals.
Yeah, and what you don't know is that you're missing a lot because those referrals that are being sent to you, they're looking at your Google reviews, they're looking online, they're looking at your website, they're looking at what your social media presence, what type of content do you put out? Are you in it for them? And so this is where we want to help you. And you can see we've got some tips we're going to go over. Starting in this first video, we're going to help you. The first thing that I want to get across is that the game has changed, and it will change again in 6 months, and a year, and 2 years. And we could sit here and complain about it, or we could say, let's do something about it. If you just, let me give you an example. Go to the gas station, go to the mall, go to the airport, drive in your car, unfortunately, and you will see people.
Right.
Everybody is on this. Everybody. The attention is here. And so we want to help you put out the right attention, although so many of you have been led astray, you've been jaded, you've been fearful, and for right reasons, it's not your fault. We want to come alongside and help you bring some kind of method to the madness.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things is that I hear it all the time from people that just reach out to me through Facebook Messenger, send me emails, or even people I get on the phone with. They've been told things like, okay, you got to put out content, you got to create content, but they're just like, I don't even know where to begin. Like, I'm confused. Like, what kind of content do I put out? Yep. What do I create? How do I get it in front of people? How do I make sure people are actually, engaged with my video or my content that I put out? Because, one of the worst feelings is like creating a video and then having 2 people watch it. You know what I mean? Like that. I understand where people come from when they, they say, hey, I'm making content, but it's not, people aren't engaging with it.
Yeah.
Why is that?
So we've got some answers for that, and we're going to get into that. In fact, that's right here, this problem number 2, the problem. We're going to talk about the opportunity, the problem, right? But one even thinks I want to make sure I get across, like I want you to think about this. If you were watching a TV show and a commercial came on, right? The average person, if they did, first off, they're not going to, because they're going to watch Netflix, or they're going to watch, or they're going to DVR their show and then just fast forward the commercials. But if you did, right, if you did have to watch a commercial, most people go right here, oh, let me tune in, who's on Facebook, where are they at? And my point with this, guys, is that if you don't understand the game that we're in right now, if you don't understand the leverage to be had, if you don't understand the opportunity in front of you, then you're not gonna engage, and we want you to. It's easier than you think. And it's going to be prosperous than you think. And here's the kicker, right? If you hear nothing else, listen to this. A lot of people today have said that we are living through the greatest shift in communication in the history of the world. And they said the second one, the runner-up, was the printing press. And this one's 5 times greater than the printing press in terms of the magnitude. And the reason, guys, is because, I want you to think about it. Right? Where do you get your information from? That's the kicker. Where is the attention? And this is where it comes into your practice. If you don't have the information in front of the right people or know where they're at, then you're already at a loss. On the other end, man, it gets real fun and real scaled if you know where it's at, you put out good content, you know how to put out the good content, and then you actually ask for the sale and you get them in.
Right. And well, that's the thing too. You got to understand, like, these platforms aren't going away, right? I mean, Facebook has been around since 2004 now. It's not going away anytime soon. Like, there's 2 billion people on the platform, and they're logging in and out, checking things, getting updated on news, family, friends. I mean, they're consuming other, funny videos, content. They're on there to be entertained, right? And when you understand that, when you understand like why people are on that platform in the first place, you can then begin to create content, based around your unique message, which we'll get into later, that caters to those people and actually gets them to consume.
Yeah.
But it's not going away. It's like I hear people sometimes say, oh, it's usually a lot of older chiropractors. They'll say something to the effect of like, what do I care what somebody's eating for breakfast? It's like, really, is that what you think Facebook and Instagram and all these things are? It's like so much more powerful than that.
It's funny, on the other end, there's people that will say, well, it's not that effective, yet then they'll complain as that's the reason why certain people won the election. Because of that. Like if it moves somebody to, if you believe that somebody got elected because of it, don't you think it could, and this isn't my words, right? We follow other social media influencers and Gary Vaynerchuk's of the world and all these people. It's like, don't you think it could influence your business? Don't you think you could actually leverage yourself as the major, value provider of health in your community? And I'm telling you, you can. It's so simple, yet it actually is so complex at the same time. It's simple if you know what you're doing. It's simple if things are moving in the right direction. It's complex if you take somebody's advice that's only looking short term. And so that being said, I thought about it even this week. I'm thinking there's 4 things to me that I see consumers and myself as a consumer. 1, relations. Like, I'm on Facebook. Think about, there's grandmothers on Facebook because that's the only time they see their grandkids, right? Pictures and that sort of thing, videos. Entertainment. Some people just get on to entertain themselves. Other ones is they actually get information. As a parent, I've come across a lot of great articles or great inspirational videos on parenting. It reminds me, man, I got to think about that. Man, I got to love my kids. Man, I got to hug them. Right? It's like, that's valuable to me. It provides me value. And the other one would be how they buy. Amazon and these wish list, I think, was another one. That 90% of theirs is online. So don't think that that's not your community. That's what we want to provide you. I want to jump into some gems here.
Well, and I was going to say, entire movements have been created through this platform. I mean, one there was a few years back, there was a revolution in Egypt that got started because of social media. But then do you remember Kony 2012?
Yeah.
Like that whole Kony 2012 viral thing, that thing took off and a whole movement was created around that because of this social platform. Now think of yourself as a chiropractor in your community. That was, that type of movement was created on a global scale, right? You as a chiropractor could start a global movement based around the information, but even so, even if it wasn't on a global scale, if we think about it in terms of the macro and the micro, you can start a movement on the micro, a scale in your community that gets people fired up and excited about achieving optimal health.
And then telling them the truth, right? Like, if you know anything about me, like, having the certainty and the boldness requires having an ability to have yourself backed up, like the things you're saying, the testimonies you're using, the evidence you're proclaiming, even the analysis that you're saying they haven't had or should, like the connections you're making, spine and the health and nervous system and function and performance. Like, if you know that, then you don't have any reservation. And so I want to help you, and we want to help you put out the right content, know where to put it, how to put it, and then to have boldness of it. If somebody leaves a bad comment, then you say, bring it on. Like, I'm just telling you the truth. When it comes to your spine and your nervous system, when it comes to your health and looking at it from outside in, pills, potions, lotions, surgeries, or that there's a natural provider, there's somebody in your town that says that has an office that looks at things differently and is going to provide you with resources to make decisions, not push you into anything, but actually give you valuable information so you can make the choice. You can look at it. And this is the thing that, again, fires me up.
Well, that's the thing. There's no faster way to build a tribe of raving fans than to take a stand on those things which you stand for and those things which you stand against. You know, if like Dan was just saying, you know, if you're vocal about, hey, here's what I stand for. When it comes to health and wellness, this is what I stand for. This is what I stand against. You're going to have haters. You're going to have people in your community that that chiropractor is a quack. They're crazy. I can't believe they said that or they think that. But you're going to have a whole other group of people that's going to say, you know what? That is in total alignment with my values and how I perceive health and well-being. You know, I like this guy. I like this girl. I'm going to follow this person and see what else they're up to.
Yeah.
You know?
The challenge is, again, being bold and then knowing what you have. And I want to help you with that. Like, what's the evidence behind it? We're going to get in video 2, 3, go through some of that, some of the evidence that actually allows us what you can say, what you can't say, what you shouldn't say, how you should say it. And so that you can always stay above, like, take the high road, never get in any challenges. And not that people can have their opinion, but that's not going to be based on any truth. You are the truth. We're going to go through these in a minute, the big 5. What are the big 5 you've got to be, or you have to know about? And the main 3 as a chiropractor, the main platforms you have to be engaged in. But before we get there, let's go to number 2. Number 2 is the problem here, Chris. So the problem is, and you can speak to this, is that chiropractors have unfortunately been led down this path. 2 things. I'll let you speak to the first one, which is just short-term outlook. But my thing is this. You've been told probably put out more content, get engaged with your social media, get your online, get your website to back it up, do some blogs, get your email list,
Make some videos,
get it all working. Here's what I see. I see so many chiropractors. It's like if you had 3 horses and a cart, and all 3 horses were going in opposite directions,
right,
the cart would not go anywhere. Then somebody comes along the side and say, I'm the saving grace. I'm going to get you a bunch of new patients. They're the Facebook ad guy. And it's like your cart is not going anywhere. They just throw a bunch of money to try to get the cart. And it maybe just slightly gives one little extra energy to one of the horses. So it moves just a little bit this way. It works for a little while. But what we want to say is, man, if you have these 3 and 5 components moving in the right direction, and you understand it's not just going to be, hundreds of new patients every month, you slowly win every single month. And this is what we want to help you. Make sure your horses are going so the cart goes. And it's more simple than you think. But this is where I'm really close friends with Josh Axe, Josh. And the thing I think about Josh, I've known him for a long time. Josh has never not been excited about food and nutrition and inside-out healing as it relates to food as medicine, as it relates to actually how somebody could eat better and get healthier. Never not been excited about that. He wrote articles before articles were cool to write. He sat and did radio station for 4 hours on a Sunday night for years, answering questions before it was cool, before there was any Facebook Lives or anything. And the point is, when Josh then started moving in that direction and he realized, I'm going to quadruple down on social media and Facebook and website, all that, it was just a natural progression. And the reason I say this is because so many of you have been taught, hey, just put out more content on whatever topic you want, whatever thing you think. And I'm here to say is, if it's not in your wheelhouse, if it's not your unique voice, if you're not passionate about it, then I'm going to tell you, it will fall on deaf ears. People can actually read that from a mile away.
Don't do it.
I just don't know if, right? But here's why I want to get you excited. When you know, and we're going to take you through a process to actually get to know what is your unique voice, right? There's a sequence. We'll give you a PDF that will allow you to walk through this, but you have to figure out what your passion, voice, and expertise is. That way, when someone says, hey, I need a video, or you need to do a video, you're chomping at the bit. I want to do it. Where we see so many don't do content, don't put out content, don't put out good content, don't do the videos, don't do anything, is when they're struggling because it's not in their wheelhouse. I get so passionate about this because so many people say, Dr. Dan, I didn't know about you 3 or 4 years ago. Listen, it's been just 4 years that I've had a Facebook account. People don't know that. It's just only been 4 years, and they think, man, you're everywhere. And it's only because I'm so passionate about this one thing, more people understanding chiropractic is beyond bad backs, bad necks. There's science and research that backs us up that we improve visceral systemic physiology as much as the other stuff, and that I want more people having a perception of that. And I've doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down on this is what I do, this is what I speak about, this is what I provide content about, this is what I create resources about. And when that's moving and all my pieces are moving in that direction, ultimately I feel like that's where it gets favor and doors open. So the other challenge is, again, I don't fall for short-term outlook. outlook. And so you've seen this more and more.
Well, yeah, that's my wife and I could, Dan, we've been working together now for, I think, a little over 3 years,
Three
about
years,
3 years,
yeah,
right?
3
And
and a
it's
half.
like, been helping Dan with his, his online presence. And I told my wife, I said, I wish I had more clients like Dan, because like he gets it. He gets the long-term value of creating content that's in your wheelhouse, because one, you're passionate about it, right? And like when you're passionate about something, people can feel that. They hear your voice, they see your face, you see your expressions, your emotions. They can tell you're fired up and you're excited about something, right? So Dan, because like he's passionate about what he does, he's a content creating machine. And it's because like he actually gets up and says, well, wow, today I'm going to be making a video on this thing, this particular topic. And like he creates it, and then it's a matter of just like distributing it and getting out in front of people. But one of the things that I love about Dan is that he understands the long game. And it's like, I've done this in my own business over the years. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've had a conversation with somebody who they were like, hey, Burf, I want to talk to you about maybe doing some Facebook ads for me. And then I get on the phone with them and they're just like, hey, man, dude, I just want to let you know, man, I've been following you for 3 years, or I've been following you for 6 months. I had a guy yesterday that contacted me and said, dude, you're all over my newsfeed. Like, tell me more about what you do. So like, it's just because I'm excited and passionate about what I do as well. And I think, people feel that and they see it, and, I'm delivering valuable content to them and people are consuming it. And over time, I've created this tribe of, fans, if you will, that's
why you're different than and the short term. That's the key, right? Like, you've been in this thing, you've owned chiropractic practices, you've been a CA, you've done the whole thing. You've been in this for 20 years. I've told you, I kid with them often. I'm like, man, you could have gotten off this ship a long time ago and arguably justified every second of it because it's tough to work with chiros. But at the same time is you've committed it not because you just love chiropractors, you love chiropractic.
Right.
You love the fact that we have that opportunity to reach more people with this unique voice. But there's a bunch of people that came in, and I said, I'll never forget that you were telling me this, like, man, this was like 3 years, 2.5 years ago.
About 2.5, 3 years.
I literally remember I was driving. I was actually going to the grocery store, and I remember getting a text from you like, man, all these Facebook guys are jumping up like these Facebook ad people.
Yeah, I can do Facebook ads for you.
And I remember thinking to myself, and I wrote you this text, I'm like, yeah, everybody thinks they're one webinar on a Friday night away from being the expert about chiropractic, right? Like if they take this one webinar that such and such put on, and really what's happened is they just teach that chiropractors are vulnerable, so then, and you could speak to this, like they teach that chiropractors are vulnerable, so then these Facebook ad guys that are just in it, just short-term, shiny object syndrome, they want to give you this thing and say, I'll get you a bunch of new patients, and that doesn't work. It's because, one, it's not in your wheelhouse. They haven't talked about moving everything in one direction. And the engagement, right? Like Facebook algorithm, like 2019, 2020, 2021, the engagement is so vital. And so you could speak to that more than anybody.
Well, that's the thing too. These types of marketers that come in, and what they do is they dangle the carrot or the silver bullet. They show you the silver bullet. Hey, I can get you 100 new patient opportunities in the next 30 days. I saw one guy who's saying that, and he's like, and if I can't do it, I'll pay you $1,000. But the thing is, like, it's enticing and it sounds great, and it makes it sound like that they're really good at what they do. But the truth is, they don't know anything about chiropractic. They don't understand the landscape. They don't understand. I've been in this profession 23 years, and like my purpose in like the chiropractic office that I co-owned and then as a CA was, educating people in the community about chiropractic. So I get it. I understand how to communicate to lay people. That's one of the things you do so beautifully is you take the research and break it down and show chiropractors how to communicate that research in layman's terms to the people in their community. But these other marketers that come in and dangle these shiny objects in front of you, and then you jump on board and you try it out, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months into it, you're getting no return on your investment, and it's like, or maybe it worked initially for the first couple of months and then it just petered out. And really, that's because only 5% of your market is 5% of your market is going to do business with you right now. So 5% of people out there will do business with you, or schedule an appointment in your office without knowing anything about you, not knowing whether they even like you or whether they trust you, simply because you put a really good offer in front of them. Exam, consultation, x-rays, first adjustment, and 30-minute massage, $19. Call us today, right?
So you're saying you'll get some 5%.
You'll get 5% of your market that will respond to something like that. 45% of your market will do business with you. They'll schedule an appointment, but these people, and they'll do it within 60 to 90 days, but these people have to have know, like, and trust with a brand before they take any kind of action. Everybody that's out there trying to sell you, whether it's a Facebook ad course or whether it's, hey, a marketer saying, hey, I can do ads for you, they are going to be marketing to the 5%. 45% of that market that's going to buy in 60 to 90 days, nobody's tapping into that. There's another 50% of the market, by the way, that will do business with you 6 months and beyond. And I'm talking like, sometimes 2 or 3 years down the road, they'll do business with you or they'll call you just because they don't feel like they have the need at this moment. But if you're in front of them and they're seeing your content, they're consuming it, they're engaging it, they know, like, and trust you, this is where the floodgates begin to open long term. And it's like, it's just doing some of that little bit of legwork up front that pays off dividends. Because, and we can get into this later, but like when you create content, it's an asset. Like it lives on the internet, on your Facebook page, on your YouTube channel, on your Instagram forever. Yeah. And people will come back and see that.
So let me recap there. So essentially what he's saying, or what we're saying, one is the problem is short-term outlook, right? And so then you got a bunch of people selling you stuff that are only going to reach 5%. What I'm saying even before that is if you get in your wheelhouse, if you know what you love to do, we call it the hedgehog principle, and I'll go over that in another video. But like once you figure out what your hedgehog is, what is your thing, now you put out content there, and now you're going to start to attract the people. So you got 5%. That's why those Facebook ads will work for a little bit, right? And if you get a percentage of them. But what if you could get a tap into the 45%?
That nobody's tapping into.
That nobody's tapping into. And then even long term, the 50%, even a portion of that 50, a portion of that 45, this is where, again, you've got horses moving in the right direction, and it's slowly, every month increasing. So opportunities in front of us. We've got this huge problem. The problem is you're being sold to this 5%, right? And it's not that there's not a time and a place for that. There is a time and a place. Offers and, making sure this is in front of those 5%. But let's figure out how to actually also reach the other 95%. And then moving forward, we talked about the percentages. There's big five. So the big five platforms, right? Why don't you mention the big five platforms and then the main three is a chiropractor.
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook, email, YouTube, and
your website. So what are the top three? So if you hear nothing else in terms of practicality and you were to go to your office or your CA or your online person and you said, is this moving in the right direction? Those top three have to be what?
Has to be your website, Facebook, and email.
Why Facebook? Because that's where everybody's at.
That's where the attention is.
So unless you have a huge following of under 21-year-olds, you're a kid, but even kids, you would never, you're a chiropractor. You don't have to worry about Snapchat. Instagram is kind of on its up and coming, so I would say there may be a play in there long term, but even if you're really, the best bang for the buck, if you had to focus on three, is just that. You've got to get the hub. The hub is the website. It's people go there, whether they go for their new patient paperwork, they're going to end up there some degree. That's got to stay active to some level. Number two is then Facebook, where you got to be putting out content. And we'll talk about this in the next one, the simplicity, professional file, but what type of content should you be putting on there? Your personal page, does that get involved? And then the other one is email. Yeah. Although email, you had a scenario yesterday, we'll talk about that on the next video, I thought was very unique. But the bottom line is we've got to be engaged with these platforms. Your main three, you have to be. And so the moral of the story is, huge opportunity in front of us. We've got a major problem that's being sold quick fixes and just do what everybody else is doing versus what you should be doing. And then thirdly is moving forward. This is what this video series is about. In fact, video 2 and video 3, we're going to dive in deep. In video 2, we're going to go through how you could do one thing to get 3 times more reach. One simple thing to get 3 times more reach that didn't take you more work, and then you're going to go over something that is amazing that I've again been using.
Yeah, so not only show you how to get more reach, but also how to capture the people that are actually consuming your content, and then getting your content back in front of those people and those people only. Yeah. Very, very cool stuff.
That's where you start to save thousands of dollars on Facebook ads or minimize the waste of Facebook advertising because your horses aren't moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
This one simple thing will transform the amount. Nobody likes to waste money. This is how you're going to stop wasting
So
money.
much money is wasted on Facebook ads marketing to the wrong people.
Yeah.
So this here will show you how to do this one thing that'll get you in front of the right people, and then how to save a ton of money putting your message back in front of them.
Listen, we're excited about helping you create more influence in your town, your community, and really globally us as a profession. We're excited about this 3-part series. We're excited about this academy we're starting. We want you engaged. We want you to get the best results possible. It's 2019, it's 2020, it's 2021. It's go time. So with that, see you on the next video number 2 coming at you. See you on the...
Catch you on the flip side.
Audio Jungle.